Hi there, Katarina. This is just a quick overview to show you how the users are set up for DocMan and for I guess both DocMan for FTP and board. Under users, as you know, you've created a couple of user groups, so that's great. We have the FTP and the board members, so nothing needed to be done there. Viewing access levels, you've created those too, so that's great. FTP and board members, right up here, board members, so that's great. So nothing needed to be done there. So what we did is we created two test users, so you can copy these. They're called, well actually there's three here, but there's test board and test FTP. So for test board member, what we did for this user is your basic login information. In assigned user groups, this user is assigned to the user group board members and SSRB staff. So you had said in your email that you wanted test board members to be able, or board members to be able to access these two. So you just map basically the user to those two groups. And for the FTP, test FTP user down here, you'll see this user has been, assigned only to the group FTP. In DocMan, let's take a look at that for a second. In our categories, you of course created the two categories. I published one of these because one of them wasn't published. So in FTP users or category, um, we've set the permission here. I think actually you had done this, so it was set to FTP, so that's great. In category permissions right now, if we take a look at the FTP user, they have the right only to download files. Now you had said something about wanting one user to be able to upload. If you want them to do that via the front end, you'll have to create a group and grant them access and then come in here and give them the access, for example, to create, delete, or edit. So if you want that set up, you can either ask me and I'll set up that group and set up the permissions, or you'll need to create a new user group, assign a user to that's maybe FTP manager, same level as FTP, but when you come in here, you choose FTP manager, and then you'd give the permissions to manipulate files in this category. That's essentially the piece for DocMan. So you've got all that set up, that's ready to go. We then created two menu items down the bottom here. Board zone and FTP, I think maybe you had actually created these, but we made sure that they're pointing to the right resource, so they're pointing to the DocMan hierarchical list. And we've also set them to the proper permissions based on the user group of the user. If we flip to the front end of the site, we'll log in as a board member. And we'll log in. And you'll see the staff zone appears here, and also the board zone. That's appearing here only because my screen's only so wide. So you might want to, for example, take the board zone and place it underneath the board, perhaps. If you want that done, just let me know. And now if we go to the board zone here, you'll see, of course, there's no documents in here, but if there were, you would see them listed. We'll log out as a test board member, and then we'll go down and log in as a test FTP user. Oops. And we log in as this user. You'll see the FTP menu here. The board one doesn't exist, and you can see the contents of the FTP folder in DocMan. Again, that information doesn't exist. There are no files in there in that category, so you don't see anything. And then you can click log out to leave and return to the home page. To handle that redirect when the user logs in, we installed an extension into Joomla that does URL redirects based on the user permissions. I don't think you'll need to modify that at all, but if you want to see where that is, just give me a second here to scroll down and find it for you. Here's redirect on login is the name of the extension. And in here, basically what we do is we say for user groups, we specify a specific location that the user will be redirected to when they log in. So for board members, we specify that they get redirected to the menu item board zone. And the same thing for FTP. That user, when that type of user logs in, they get redirected to the FTP menu. And in a nutshell, that's all that's required in order to get things up and running. So there you go.